she a gold digger, but she planning those goals, goals, goals. Love you. What is up, you guys? This is the third time that I'm filming this video. Last time I recorded this, my head was cut off, so that's fun. The first time I recorded it, I was too far back from the camera, and so that was great. So this third time is a charm, all right? Welcome back. My name is Erin, and this is Thief of Joy. If you want to know more about why my channel is called Thief of Joy, please go watch part 1 and part 2. Those were my first 2 videos for when I started my channel, and you'll find out all the things. So welcome if you're new here. Again, my name is Erin. I'm 31 years old. I have a daughter who is almost 2 years old. Her name is Flora. I have a husband. We have been together for about 9 years, married 3. His name is Travis. This is my dog, August. And I also have a cat named Opie that you will see cameos of both of them in probably almost every video that I ever make because they like to try and steal the spotlight. And my toddler is pretty much the star of this whole channel. So just a little FYI if you don't like toddlers, which I don't know anybody who doesn't. But anyways, so today we are going to be talking about the 5 goals that I have set for myself for 2023. Now, 2023, when I first think about what that means, I think of, do y'all know the, what is it called? The genetic testing thing that you do? It's called like 23andMe. This is exactly what I think about whenever I think of the year 2023. This year is going to be about me. Okay, you're going to see that as a theme whenever I talk about my goals here, okay? It's about me. It's about taking back myself and becoming myself again. And so I'm going to go through all these 5 goals and hopefully it will make more sense. So my camera stand is broken. So that is why this looks a little wonky. So please bear with me. All right. So number 5, I'm going to start with 5 and work my way down. That's in no particular order, although number 1 is pretty dang important. So number 5, live a healthier lifestyle. Now, I know this is probably everybody's freaking goal in 2023, as it has been for years and years and years and years. But recently I have been having some tummy issues, some bloating problems, and it's probably because of all the random things that I ate during the holidays. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's what it's from. But I have just been feeling super icky, super just like tired, and I know I'm not treating myself the best with what I am putting in my body. So we do pretty well with meal prepping. Like I make our lunches, our dinners, our breakfasts to take to work. We really don't eat out a whole bunch. I mean, maybe 1 to 2 times a week, and that's usually for dinner. But I definitely think that I could still be making better choices. And so I'm hoping to find new recipes to make, and also like when we do go out to eat, trying to make better choices. Now, let me tell you right now, if we go eat Mexican, I'm having a dang burrito or a cheese dip and possibly a margarita. Now, we're not eliminating everything, okay? We're not trying to set ourselves up for failure, but we definitely could be more mindful about the other things. I work in a hospital and I feel like we have a party for every little reason. We're like, oh, you came to work today, let's have a party. And so seriously, in healthcare, there's so much food around. Like it's somebody's birthday, it's somebody's anniversary, somebody's retiring, it's New Year's, it's Christmas, it's Tuesday, you know, so we're always eating. So I just need to I need to have more willpower to not eat all the things. And not to mention, I need to cut back on my coffee. I sometimes will drink like 3 cups a day, and I realize that that's not the best. It's an addiction, I realize, but I'm not willing to give it up completely, but we're gonna start trying to do like 1 cup a day. Or my friend said that she drinks, it's like a mushroom tea, not like mushrooms, like the drugs, but like it's like a healthier tea or coffee or something like that. So I'm willing to try things, but I definitely will not be giving up coffee cold turkey. That's just not happening. So I want to try, on that same note, I want to try to increase my water intake. I got a new water bottle, which is always so exciting and helps with goals sometimes. I'm not saying you need to go out and buy new things, but for me, I got a different water bottle than what I'm used to drinking out of. So far, I have been doing really well with increasing my water intake. Now, it's only been like 4 days, so let me not talk too soon, but so far so good. So increasing my water intake. I already, every morning at work, there's a trail that is next to our hospital. So I already walk about 2.5 miles. I haven't been doing that recently because it's been so cold and now it's warm, and Georgia is just so freaking weird. But whenever the weather is good, also it's been raining a ton. Whenever the weather is good, I want to get back into doing that because I have noticed that that is probably one of the reasons why I'm feeling so tired and just lethargic, is because I'm not exercising anywhere as much as I was. And that was just walking. So I wanted to implement I want to implement that back in my life, and then also possibly follow a program. I do have Beachbody or, something else, and hopefully that will help make me feel better. I'm not really in it for weight loss per se, but just feeling like I have energy, and because when you have a 2-year-old, you really need energy. Fortunately, my daughter sleeps, so we're not suffering through that, but I truly just feel like I sometimes just do not have the energy. And I am 31, and I have noticed that during my 20s, I could probably eat whatever I wanted, but it's like the minute I turned 30, I also had just had a baby, my body started kind of giving me an attitude. And I know that's gonna only continue to happen with age, so I'm just trying to just nip it in the bud right now. I know it's not gonna solve all my problems, but if I can try and be a little bit more healthier, then I feel like I'm doing something right. Number 4 is I am looking for a therapist. For several years, I have been wanting to go to therapy. I actually went for like 4 sessions back in like 2018 or 19. And I just remember feeling so silly for being there. I remember she asked me like, oh, what are the things that you want to work on? And I'm just like, I don't even know where to start. And I couldn't find anything that seemed like big enough or worthy enough to talk about. And so it didn't last very long because I kind of just talked myself out of being there. I was like, there are so many other people who have way bigger problems and concerns than I do, and I'm just wasting this person's time. And I realize now that that obviously was not the case, because if something is bothering you or affecting you or is important to you, let's just start with that. If it's important to you, it's worth being talked about. Okay, that is something I have come to learn. I definitely struggle with anxiety. My anxiety has become a little higher since having a child, because not only are you an anxious person at baseline, but you now are taking care of another human being, and that can be stressful. So there's just a lot that that deserves to be talked about. And not that I can't talk to my family or my husband or anything like that, but it just sometimes is nice to talk to someone who doesn't know you and can hear your perspective without being an insider and can offer ideas and suggestions on what you could do in order to hopefully minimize that anxiety or that problem or conflict or whatever you're going through. So that's something that I really think would be good for my mental health, which I know is as important as my physical health. We've all heard the saying that you can't pour from an empty glass or a glass that's half full. You need to be able to, you deserve to put forth the effort of being your best self and taking care of yourself. So that is another thing that I have come to learn, and I'm just trying to stop throwing myself away. And so I'm making myself a priority, and I think therapy will help with that. Number 3 is self-care without guilt. Now, I know a lot of my moms out there will understand this, but this is not just for y'all. This is for anyone. This is for literally every situation that you could think of, whatever position you're in. So I don't know if you've noticed, but we tend to forget about who we were before we took on all these roles in our life. For example, being a mom, being a wife, being a husband, being a girlfriend, being a boyfriend, being an employer, etc., etc. We get so consumed in these roles in our life that we forget we're a person too, and we deserve the same attention as all these other people do, okay? It took me a long time to figure that out, but I know that this kind of goes back to you can't pour from a half glass or whatever the heck that saying is, but you have to be able to, you have to make time to take care of yourself. And sometimes that means doing things alone or going to do things with your friends and stepping out of your daily activities and tasks and doing something that means a lot to you or that you want to do with your friends or whatever. For example, I recently went to a cabin with a couple of my girlfriends, and I left my toddler, my daughter, with, I think, who did she stay with? She stayed with grandparents, I believe. And I was just so constantly thinking about on the way there and when we got there and on the way home, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is she doing? Is she eating? Is she doing this? You get so consumed in having a schedule for for example, for her, that you're you don't know what to do whenever you're not having to remember to do a million things. And so it was really hard for me to kind of just sit back and relax. And is that thunder? So it was really hard for me to just kind of sit back and relax and not think about what was going on at home. Eventually I did. I mean, I had a wonderful time. There was a great group of girls, and we kind of had our own therapy session where we talked about anxiety, and most of us were parents, and all of us were married, and so we just talked about various things, and it was really, really good for me, and I'm so glad that I went. But looking back on the time that we had, I was like, why was I so worried about what was going on with my daughter? I mean, I know she's in good hands and I have nothing to worry about, but you just tend to take on those things, even I think subconsciously. So I know that it's something that's going to take some time, but I want to be able to go do something and not feel guilty for leaving my child or leaving my husband or whatever. And so that's just something that I want to continue to work on and, do for myself. So number 2, it says to be more organized. So ask anyone. First of all, let's start with this. I'm ADHD. Nothing wrong with that. It's just part of who I am. Not complaining about it, but ask anyone. I am usually the person who is either on time, right on time, or 5 to 10 minutes late. And I don't want to be that person, but it just, it's just a quality about me that has stood the test of time and I am trying to do better about. But I think a lot of it has to do with my ADHD. I have poor time management. I am like, oh, I've got 30 minutes. Like I can do 5 things. And then before I know it, it's 5 minutes before I'm supposed to be there. And then I'm scrambling and trying to, get to wherever I need to be. It's a wonder that I have anxiety is because I put myself in these situations that are anxiety provoking. So there's that. But I'm just not organized in a lot of areas of my life. I mean, y'all have seen my car before in another video, my aquarium video. I mean, part of it is because I have a toddler. She throws crap everywhere. There's food crumbs, there's toys, there's whatever. But a lot of it, I have like 12 jackets in there. Why do I need 12 jackets? I don't know. But they just collect in there and then they just don't get moved. I have a thought process. I'm like, oh yeah, I probably should take those things inside. And then I'm like, I'll do it next time. And then it doesn't happen. So then I just keep bringing more and more and more. And then before I know it, there's 30 jackets in my car that I don't need. So, and for another example, my closet. I have clothes in there from when I was in high school. Now, granted, I haven't changed that much since I was in high school. I've always been kind of about the same weight and height, and so there's a lot of stuff I can still wear. There's a lot of stuff in there that is just sitting there and I know could be donated, and somebody else deserves to have these things. These things don't deserve to sit in my closet and just be there and exist. So I really want to make an effort to clean out my closet, eliminate a lot of the things in there, try not to buy more to fill it back up. That's a whole other issue. But yeah, and just kind of not be a minimalist, but like just have like staples and things that I actually wear. Cause like many people, I probably wear a lot of the same things repeatedly. So, I mean, I could probably eliminate my whole closet except 5 things and I'd be okay. But in my mind, I'm like, no, heck no. And then there's my kitchen. My cabinet where like most of the food's in, it's a mess. My refrigerator is a mess. So there's just a lot of areas where I feel like I deserve to be more organized. And just, I want to look around my house and be like, all right, there's not much I need to do today. There's always going to be something to do, but I don't want to feel overwhelmed by the junk sitting everywhere. So that's a goal of mine. I think that will relieve some of my anxiety as well. So number one, I feel very happy to be talking about this because it is something that has taken a lot of time for me to realize and also talk about. I think I've known this for a while, but when you just continue to do something that you're fully aware of, but also not aware of, this is one of those things. I wrote, stop apologizing and invalidating myself. I do not like conflict. I do not like confrontation. And whenever those things arise, in order to avoid it or get rid of it, I will just apologize. Even if it's really not my fault, I will just apologize just to kind of get through it and get over it. I tell myself it's because I just want there to be peace, but I really think it's just I want to avoid it. I just don't want it to be there. I don't want people to be mad at me. I'm a people pleaser. And so it's really hard for me whenever someone judges my character or they assume things about me, and especially when it's family or a close friend or something like that. I just don't want there to be any conflict. And so I'll apologize. And a lot of times I notice that it's not reciprocated. So then that kind of makes me feel even worse because I'm like, all right, I basically poured my heart out to you and told you what I'm sorry for. And then you don't do the same. You're just like, okay, then we just move on, and then it happens again, and then I do it again. And then, so it's just like a never ending pattern. And it really wears you down whenever you feel like you're always the problem, even when you aren't. So I have decided that I just need to stick up for myself. And sometimes that is simply not giving in to what other people want. And that includes not apologizing for things that are not necessarily things that you did. And I have to learn to be okay with that because it's hard for me to kind of have that silence with someone and that for them to be upset with me. And I know they're waiting for me to just give in and apologize. But in order to help myself, I need to learn to be okay with the silence. And if there's someone that truly wants to have my friendship, if there's someone who truly wants to be in my life, then they will come to me and say, let's talk about this. And and then we can have a real conversation. And that's not necessarily avoidance, in my opinion, waiting for someone else to come to you. I think that's also you giving them the space and the time to think about the situation. And if it's something that is completely like my doing, my wrongdoing, I know in my heart of hearts that I was in the wrong, then of course I'm going to go to you and I'm going to say, I am so sorry. That is not what I intended to do. I did not intend to upset you, things like that. But I can't just be automatically apologizing for things that it's a two-way street and only one of the streets has lights on and the other one's lights are off because they're just not willing to take ownership of anything that they've done. So this is a really hard one and a really big one for me to work on this year because, like I said, I am such a people pleaser. I just, like, if I could say one sentence for 2023, it would be, I want to put myself first. And I realize that sounds kind of selfish, but it's really not if you think about it. And like I talked about, we often forget about who we were before we took on all these things. And that's not fair to you, and that's not fair to yourself. So I just want to do better. I mean, especially I am so thankful that for my daughter because I think that she's helped me realize a lot of these things about myself. Like, who knew that your toddler would teach you so many things? But it's true. Like, the day she was born, I had to start making decisions not only for myself anymore, but for her. And that can be overwhelming, but it can also push you to do better. Like, all anybody wants to do is do better. A lot of the times we will build these barriers and you're the one building them. So my goal is to stop doing that. I mean, I'm sitting here talking to you. I'm talking to a camera, which is something that, sounds silly, that I've been wanting to do for years. And I kept putting it off. I kept telling myself that what I have to say is not anything meaningful. And then one day I was like, all right, we're just going to try this and see where it goes. And if it doesn't work out, that's fine. You won't have any regrets about not doing it. But if it does, that gives you the space to talk about, things that are important to you and things that you love. And so this, I know, is going to be really helpful for me in making these goals come true because I will have people there to support me. I'll know for myself that I was the one who did what I said and what I was going to do. And that's something that I think is priceless. Nobody else can give that to you except yourself. I know that I'm a good person. Like, I have my faith, I have my friends, I have my family, but I think there's always room for improvement for anybody. And so this is what I've discovered about myself. And I think a lot of people struggle with these things. So hopefully me talking about it will trigger something inside of you to do whatever you need to do, because there's not one way or 5 ways of doing that. So whatever you come up with and whatever the goals that you set for yourself, I hope that that will put you in a better place mentally, physically, spiritually, and all of those things. So just remember that you are important and you're worthy, and that if anybody else tells you that you're not, then that's unfortunate and they have some serious soul searching to do. So don't take it personally. All right, you guys, well, thank you for joining me in this video, and I'm super excited for 2023 and what this year will bring. Let me know what your goals are for this year, and let me know if there's any specific video that you want me to make. I know a lot of people ask this, but I just want to, I think it'll bring me fun ideas to do, and I'm gonna continue to do things that like I'm interested in that are a part of my life, but I also would love suggestions if you have any. So thank you again for your support, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.